I found my mother's underwear in my husband's car. Lace. Red. Still warm. The same man who bought me like livestock when my father's corpse was still fresh. The same man who told me on our wedding night that I belonged to him now. Property, not wife. The same man whose hand was around my throat 3 weeks ago when I asked why he came home smelling like my mother's perfume. I didn't scream. I took a photo. I put them back under the seat. I went home to their dinner. Yes, their dinner. The one where my mother sat across from me talking about respecting your husband, while his foot traced her ankle under the table. I smiled, served the food, said nothing. For 8 months, I said nothing. But I wasn't silent. I was planning. Before we dive in, I need to give a shout out to Cynthia Davis. Cynthia, thank you for every comment, every like. You make me want to do better. You're not just watching. You're building Just Afro-Korean with me. That matters more than you know. And for everyone else tuning in, Seoul, Lagos, New York, London, Tokyo, Accra, drop your city in the comments. I want to see you. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a warning. Now, let's get into it. Her name was Kira Osei, 26 years old, Seoul-born to a Ghanaian mother and a father who'd gambled himself into an early grave. She'd grown up in Itaewon, speaking Korean, Twi, and English, moving between worlds that never fully claimed her. Her father, Kwame Osei, had run a small export business, on paper. In reality, he'd borrowed from the wrong people, bet on the wrong fights, and died of a heart attack in a Noraibang with 200 million won in debt and a daughter he'd already used as collateral. Kira found out at the funeral. A man in a black suit. Expensive. Quiet. He handed her a contract while her father's body was still waiting to be cremated. Your father owed us 200 million won. You have 2 options. Pay it, or pay it differently. She'd looked at the contract, then at her mother, Amma, standing across the room in funeral black, crying into a tissue. How long do I have? You don't. She signed. His name was Seo Min-jae, 38 years old, head of the Seo Syndicate, one of Seoul's oldest, quietest criminal networks. Real estate, gambling dens, but protection rackets wrapped in legitimate businesses. He operated out of Gangnam. He drove a black Genesis G580 with tinted windows. He wore suits that cost more than most people's rent. And he had a taste for older women. Everyone in his circle knew. His known mistresses, all older. His ex-wife, 8 years his senior. It wasn't hidden. It just wasn't discussed. What Kira didn't know, what she wouldn't know until the underwear, was that he'd been sleeping with her mother for 6 months before her father died, and that Amma Osei had handed her daughter to him like a contract renewal. They married 3 weeks after the funeral. No ceremony, no guests. A signing at the district office in Gangnam with Min-jae's lawyer, a man named Park Jun-ho, who smiled at Kira like she was a document being notarized. Min-jae's hand was on her lower back the entire time. Possessive. Heavy. Afterward, in the car, he'd said, "You understand what this is?" "Yes. You're mine now. You don't leave. You don't talk. You don't ask questions. If you try to run, I'll find you. If you try to talk, you'll disappear. The only way you stay alive is by staying with me." She'd nodded. He'd smiled. Good girl. That night, in the Hanam-dong penthouse he'd moved her into, he'd explained the rest. Your mother's debt is cleared. You live here. You play the role. You smile at my dinners. You don't embarrass me. Do that, and you'll be comfortable. And if I don't? He'd grabbed her throat. Not hard enough to bruise. Just hard enough. Then you take everything you know about me to your grave, and it'll be a shallow one." He'd let go, kissed her forehead. "But you're smart, I can see that. So we won't have a problem." For 18 months, Kira played the role. She attended his dinners, smiled at his associates, wore the clothes he bought, designer, fitted, the kind that photographed well. She learned to read the room, to know when to laugh, when to be silent, when to pour drinks and disappear. She never asked where he went at night, never questioned the phone calls in Japanese, Mandarin, Russian, never looked at his phone. She learned early, curiosity got you killed. But she wasn't stupid. She noticed things, like how her mother started visiting more often. "Just checking on you, sweetie." Like how Min-jae's late nights always coincided with Amma's errands. Like how her mother's new apartment in Apgujeong, the one she'd moved into 6 months after Kira's wedding, was in a building owned by CO Holdings. Like how Minji came home smelling like Chanel No. 5. The same perfume her mother had worn since Kira was a child. She noticed. She said nothing. The underwear was an accident. Kira had borrowed Min-jae's car. Her own was being serviced. She needed to drive to a meeting for the interior design business she'd quietly started. Min-jae didn't care what she did during the day, as long as she was home by dinner. She'd dropped her phone. It slid under the passenger seat. When she reached for it, her hand closed around fabric. She pulled it out slowly. Red lace. La Perla. Size medium. Not hers. She didn't own red. Min-jae hated red on her. Said it made her look too bold. She turned the fabric over. There was a receipt tucked into the waistband. Shinsegae department store. Purchased 2 days ago. 2:47 p.m. Kira checked her phone. 2 days ago. 2:47 p.m. She'd been in a client meeting in Gangnam. Documented. Time-stamped. Min-jae had been working from home. Her mother had texted that afternoon. "Stopping by to bring you soup. You've been looking thin." She'd stayed 4 hours. Kira sat in the car for 11 minutes. Then she pulled out her phone, photographed the underwear, front, back, receipt, location data. She folded the lace exactly as she'd found it, placed it back under the seat. Then she drove to her meeting. She landed the contract. A luxury hotel redesign in Gangnam. 80 million won project. She went home, made galbi jim from scratch, his favorite. When Min-jae came home at 8, she was setting the table. "Smells good," he said, kissing her cheek. "Long day?" "Exhausting." She smiled, poured his whiskey, sat across from him and asked about his meetings. He talked for 40 minutes. She listened to every word. She said nothing. "Here's what you need to understand about Kira Ose before we go further." Her father had taught her one thing before he died. Not intentionally, but through his failures. Never let anyone see your hand. Her mother had taught her something else, also unintentionally. By watching Amma move through the world, charming, calculated, always surviving, always landing on her feet no matter who she stepped on. Kira had thought it was strength. She was learning it was strategy, and she was better at it than both of them. Kira didn't confront anyone. She moved like water. But first, the business. Kira Interiors had started as a side project. Min-jae had allowed it because it kept her busy, kept her from asking questions. What he didn't know was that she'd been routing the income carefully, not into their joint account, into a separate account at a small credit union in Yeouido, the kind of place Min-jae would never think to check. Over 18 months, she'd saved 47 million won. She also quietly restructured the business registration, removed Min-jae's name from the corporate documents. He'd insisted on being listed as a silent partner for tax purposes. She hired a lawyer, not one of Min-jae's people. A woman named Lee Soo-jin, who specialized in quiet restructures. It took 3 weeks. Min-jae's name disappeared from every document. He never noticed. Next, the apartment. That the Hanamdong penthouse was in Min Jae's name, but Kira had been paying the mortgage from her business account for 8 months. Min Jae's liquidity issues, he'd called it. She documented every payment, every transfer, every receipt. Then she called Soo-jin again. "Can I claim equitable interest? You've been funding the mortgage? 70% of it. Then yes, we file a claim. If he tries to sell or leverage it, you're first in line. Do it!" The claim was filed quietly. Min Jae would find out eventually. Probably the same day he found out everything else. Then came the proof. Kira needed more than underwear, more than suspicion. She needed documentation. So she hired a private investigator, a man named Kim Tae-sung, who specialized in domestic clarification, discreet, thorough, expensive. But his report came back in 5 weeks. Min Jae and Amma had been involved for 2 years, since before Kwame died. They had a standing reservation at a boutique hotel in Cheongdam-dong. Every Thursday, room 402, paid in cash. Amma had been funding her lifestyle through Min Jae for 18 months. The Apgujeong apartment, the car, the designer bags. The report included hotel logs, bank transfers, CCTV timestamps, and a timeline so detailed Kira could map every lie her mother had told for 24 months. She paid Tae-sung in full, added a bonus. Then she filed the report with Soo-jin. "This is..." Soo-jin trailed off, reading. "Kira, this is comprehensive, devastating. Good." But Kira couldn't just leave. She'd tried thinking about it, tried mapping an escape. Every route ended the same way. Min Jae finding her, and Min Jae making an example of her. "You take everything you know about me to your grave." He'd meant it, so she stayed. But she started planning something else. 4 months after the underwear, Kira met someone. His name was James Kwan, Korean-American, photographer, quiet. He'd been hired to shoot her hotel project for a design magazine. They had coffee, then dinner. He didn't ask about her marriage, didn't pry, just talked about light, composition, the way cities looked at 4 a.m. She liked him. More than that, she felt human around him. They started seeing each other. Carefully, quietly. Lunch meetings that ran long. Site visits that didn't need 2 people. She knew it was dangerous. She didn't care anymore, because for the first time in 2 years, she remembered what it felt like to be seen as something other than property. 6 months after the underwear, Amma made an announcement. Sunday lunch, Min Jae's penthouse, just the 3 of them. "I have news." Amma placed her hand on her stomach. Practiced. Theatrical. "I'm pregnant." Kira set down her chopsticks. Min Jae froze. "What?" Kira's voice was calm. "I know. I'm shocked too. But the doctors confirmed it. 10 weeks. 10 weeks. Kira repeated. "I didn't want to say anything until I was sure. At my age, the risks..." "Who's the father?" Kira asked. Silence. Amma's smile faltered. "Your father. I didn't realize before he died. The pregnancy had complications, delayed symptoms. It happens with older women." Kira looked at her mother for a long moment. Then she looked at Min Jae. He was staring at his plate. Kira smiled. "That's wonderful, Amma. Congratulations." Amma exhaled. "Thank you, sweetie." We should celebrate." Kira stood, went to the kitchen, came back with champagne. She poured 3 glasses. They toasted. Kira didn't drink hers. That night, she called Soo-jin. "She's claiming it's my father's baby. Your father's been dead for 2 years. She's claiming 10 weeks. Genetically impossible. I know. I want her to keep lying. Let her build the whole story. Hospital records, ultrasounds, everything. Let her commit completely. Why? because when I pull it apart, I want it to be undeniable. Sujin was quiet. You're terrifying. I learned from the best. At 14 weeks, Amma asked to move in, just until the baby comes. I don't want to be alone. Min-jae looked at Kira. Kira smiled. Of course, Amma. We have the guest room. Amma moved in 2 days later, and Kira watched. She installed cameras. Is small, discreet, every room except the bathrooms. She documented everything. The nights Min-jae's late meetings coincided with Amma's door opening at 2 a.m. The mornings Min-jae came back to bed smelling like her mother's perfume. The conversations in the hallway, low, familiar. Min-jae, we need to be more careful. Amma. She doesn't notice anything. Min-jae. Still. Amma, when are you going to handle her? Min-jae. Soon. Once the hotel project closes. Then we'll deal with it. Kira heard that through the camera audio. She sat in the bathroom with her laptop. She played it 3 times. Then we'll deal with it. She backed up the file to 4 separate drives. Then she called James. I need to see you. They met at his studio in Seongsu-dong. She told him everything. The debt, the contract, the marriage, and the threats, the affair, the pregnancy, the plan to deal with her. He listened without interrupting. When she finished, he said, What do you need? I need to disappear, but I can't just run. He'll find me. He'll kill me. So what's the plan? I destroy them first. Both of them. So completely that even if he wanted to come after me, he'd be too buried to move. James nodded slowly. I'm in. You don't have to. I'm in. At 16 weeks, Kira filed for divorce. Not in person. Through Sujin's office. Clean. Legal. Delivered by courier to Min-jae's office in Gangnam at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Grounds. Fraud. Coercion. Adultery. Attached. The equitable interest claim. The business income records. The affair evidence. And a note. We need to talk. Tonight. Min-jae came home at noon. When he walked into the living room where Kira was sitting with tea, reading a design magazine. He threw the papers on the table. What the fuck is this? She looked up. Divorce papers. Did you read them? You think you can leave me? I already have. The business is mine. The money I saved is mine. And the apartment claim is filed. His face changed. Something dark moved into it. He crossed the room in 2 steps, grabbed her by the throat, slammed her against the wall. You think you're going anywhere? You think I won't fucking end you? She didn't fight. She looked him in the eye. Do it, she said quietly. And I release everything. The affair, the hotel logs, the pregnancy timeline, the audio of you and my mother planning to deal with me. His grip loosened slightly. I have it all, Min-jae. And if I disappear, it goes to the police, the prosecutors, your rivals, everyone. He stared at her. So you have 2 choices, she continued. Let me go, or bury both of us. He let go. She adjusted her collar, walked past him to the stairs. Oh, she said, turning back. Your girlfriend's pregnant. But you already knew that. His face went white. 16 weeks. Conception date puts it at April. My father died in January. The math doesn't work, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. She went upstairs. Amma came home an hour later. She found Min-jae in the living room, staring at the divorce papers. What happened? He looked up at her. She knows. Knows what?
Everything.
Amma's face changed. Kira appeared at the top of the stairs. Hi, Amma. Amma looked up. Sweetheart, what's going on? You're pregnant with my husband's baby. And you've been sleeping with him for 2 years. That's what's going on. Silence. That's insane, Amma said. I don't know what he told you. He didn't tell me anything. I have footage. I have hotel records. I have bank transfers. I have audio of you two planning to deal with me once the hotel project closed. Amma sat down slowly. The baby's not my father's, Kira continued. Impossible timeline. I already confirmed with your doctor. Dr. Han was very helpful when I explained the situation. Kira, I want you out of this apartment in 12 hours. This is a misunderstanding. No, this is very clear. You sold me to pay off debt. Then you took him for yourself. And now you're going to learn what it costs. Min-jae tried threats first. You leave, you die. That was the deal. Then kill me. But know that the second I'm dead, everything I have goes public. Soo-jin has instructions. So does Tae-sung. So does James. Who the fuck is James? She smiled. Someone who sees me as a person. You should try it sometime. His jaw tightened. You've been fucking someone else? For 6 months. The same amount of time you've been fucking my mother under this roof. He moved toward her. She didn't flinch. Touch me and I scream. The cameras are already recording. Your associates will love seeing you assault your wife on tape. He stopped. You have no right, he started. I have every right. You bought me. You threatened me. You told me the only way I'd stay alive was by staying silent. So I stayed silent. But I wasn't idle. She picked up her bag. I'm leaving. You can try to stop me. But know that if I disappear, you'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, because I've already buried you. You just don't know it yet. She walked to the door. Oh, she said, turning back. One more thing. Your rivals, the Choi Syndicate, they're very interested in the recordings I have of your Gangnam operations. Might reach out to them, might not. Depends on how cooperative you are. She left. She disappeared that night. Not to another part of Seoul. To Busan, then Jeju. Then back to Seoul. But to a part of the city Min-jae didn't control. Mule-dong, an artist district where she rented a small studio under a false name. James helped her move, helped her set up, helped her breathe. What now? He asked. Now I finish it. Over the next 3 months, Kira released everything. Not all at once, piece by piece. Yet the affair evidence went to Min-jae's business partners, anonymously, with a note. Is this who you're in business with? The hotel logs went to Amma's church group. Is this who you're praying with? The pregnancy timeline went to Amma's friends. Is this who you're congratulating? The audio recordings of Min-jae discussing illegal operations went to a journalist Kira had cultivated carefully, someone with a reputation for taking down powerful men. The article ran in 3 parts. By the time it finished, Min-jae's business was hemorrhaging partners. The Seo Syndicate was under investigation. Amma's social circle had evaporated. And Kira was in Jeju with James, watching the sunrise over the ocean, drinking coffee, planning her next hotel project. 6 months later, Min-jae tried to find her. He sent people, but they came back empty-handed. He tried calling. Her number was disconnected. He tried threatening Soo-jin. She laughed. My client is untouchable, and if you come near her, the rest of what she has on you goes public. Test me. He didn't. A year later, Amma sent a letter, hand-delivered to Soo-jin's office. Kira, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I was wrong. I was selfish. I failed you as a mother. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. Kira read it once. Then she burned it. 2 years later, Kira stood in her new apartment in Hanam-dong. Not the penthouse. A different building. One she'd bought with her own money. James was in the kitchen making breakfast. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I'm sorry. I should have seen you. She stared at it for 5 seconds. And then she blocked the number. She walked into the kitchen. Everything okay? James asked. Perfect, she said. And she meant it. Beautiful people, we leave Kira Ose in the home she built, with the man she chose, living the life she designed. The mother who sold her got nothing. The husband who threatened her got buried. And Kira got free. Not by begging, not by running, by planning. If you made it this far, do me a favor. Subscribe to Just Afro Korean right now. These stories don't tell themselves, and your support keeps them coming. Now tell me in the comments, if someone threatened your life to keep you silent, how would you fight back? What would you do? Because here's the truth. Some women survive. Some women escape. Kira Ose did neither. She won, and she did it so quietly they never saw her coming.